November 2026 is the moment every space fan has been waiting for. You've felt the frustration as delays piled up for years. You've watched rockets sit idle or blow up on pads. Here, the opportunity is real and the stakes are high. Earth and Mars finally line up for a short trip. This window only opens every 26 months. Missing it pushes the whole mission back 2 years. SpaceX knows this. They have built everything around this date. The problem was always simple and brutal. Rockets need massive fuel to leave Earth. They need even more to reach Mars. The Starship is huge. It carries cargo, supplies, and eventually people. That much fuel is heavy. Heavy means slower. Slower means you risk missing the planet. For decades, engineers could not solve this physics wall. Every test ran into limits. Engines did not fire long enough. Tanks were too weak. SpaceX did not ignore this wall. They rethought the whole system. They designed a new engine called the Raptor. It runs on methane fuel. This radical design gives more push for the same weight. That is what makes Mars in 2026 possible. Building the engine was only the start. The rocket itself needed big changes. Previous ships had issues landing. Heat shields melted and fins snapped. Tanks leaked under pressure. Elon's team had to test every single piece. They launched prototypes again and again. Some blew up. Some fell sideways. You remember those videos? They were spectacular and painful to watch, but each failure gave them new data. By stacking tests, they learned how to protect the ship. They learned how to steer it and slow it down. This is methodical mastery, not luck. By mid-2025, they were ready for the big tests. The tanks could hold 1,200 tons of fuel. The engines could fire for 6 minutes straight. That is enough power to reach orbit. They tested landing on concrete pads with precision. One slip and they would miss the window. The engineers knew they had seconds to make adjustments. SpaceX thrives under that kind of pressure. Think about that for a second. They are coordinating booster refills in orbit. This is where one ship meets another to transfer fuel. It sounds impossible, but SpaceX ran thousands of simulations. They practiced in stages with checklists and emergency plans. By stacking these moves, they solved a problem every other program failed to fix. The result is a system that can push a fully fueled ship to Mars. No other company has come close, not Blue Origin and not the SLS. This is where the competitive advantage shows. You feel that payoff because it is concrete. The timeline is tight. November and December 2026 are the only months that work. SpaceX plans to send 5 uncrewed ships first. They will test landings on Mars in 2027. Success opens the door for humans in 2028. Each ship carries 100 tons of cargo. That is heavy as 15 pickup trucks. 5 missions mean 500 tons of gear ready before anyone arrives. Compare that to NASA's Artemis program. It will take years to move that much equipment. SpaceX is not just faster, they are moving smarter. This is where it gets interesting. Starship is a modular system. The booster is called Super Heavy. It detaches and lands for reuse. The main ship continues to orbit. It gets fuel from another Starship tanker. Think of it like a relay race. Each part hands off what is needed to the next. That is how they beat fuel limits. NASA tried single-use designs for decades. SpaceX breaks that pattern. Each success adds to their lead. You have seen this in business or sports. Efficiency wins when timing matters. The competitors are watching closely. China has rockets that can reach Mars orbit, but they lack the fuel systems to land big loads. Russia has heavy rockets, but they are not consistent. SpaceX combines the ship with orbital refueling. This creates a system that carries much more than any rival. This matters more than it sounds. It is about logistics and control. Whoever masters this first shapes the next decade. The numbers back it up. 5 ships delivering 100 tons each is a milestone no one else can touch. You see the scoreboard. SpaceX is winning. Remember the failed test in late 2022? The ship fell sideways at high speed. That disaster looked final, but the team learned. They changed the tile materials. They reinforced the fins. They fixed the software. By 2024, a new ship landed smoothly. That is how you turn the impossible into the possible. You are watching problem solving at its finest. It is a mix of smarts and risk-taking. This is is why the Mars window matters. The whole system has been tested and validated. SpaceX is not gambling. They are stacking the odds. By late 2025, they had built 7 complete ships. Each ship takes thousands of hours of work. The fuel tanks are 50 meters. That is like a 15-story building. The engines pack massive thrust. It is like strapping 20 jumbo jets together. 5 missions are lined up for that 2-month window. The timing is surgical. Missing it means waiting 2 years. The human cost is high pressure, but the technical payoff is huge. You can feel the tension because the numbers are real. Then came the final hurdle. Transferring fuel 400 kilometers above Earth is hard. One mistake and fuel spills into space. One wrong angle and the ship drifts away. They practiced in stages with smaller tanks first. The margin for error was only 30 seconds. You have felt this when working against a clock. That intensity is real. The reward is a fully fueled ship leaving for Mars. Competitors took note. The SLS is powerful but cannot be reused. Its cost per ton is 3 times higher. Blue Origin is slower and makes fewer rockets. SpaceX has a launch rate 5 times faster than its nearest rival. That is resource efficiency you can measure. You see why the market favors them. It is not hype, it is numbers. You can track every launch and every engine fired. That is mastery. It feeds the next goal of humans on Mars by 2028. The planning goes beyond hardware. The team maps every path in detail. They calculate orbits and solar storms. Software is just as vital as metal. One miscalculation could push a ship 10,000 kilometers off course. That is why simulations run constant. Think of it like driving in a storm without a map while your car weighs 1,200 tons. Every adjustment matters. This is what makes SpaceX a system master. Numbers and physics all play in sync. By July 2027, the first ship should land. The cargo includes homes and solar panels. Each landing is a victory. Each success proves the math was right. For many, it is satisfying to see results from hard work. You recognize the score and the strategy. SpaceX is building a base for the future. That is the payoff for being methodical. You see the pattern. Fail, learn, and win. Thousands of people contribute to this. Every failure brings a new insight. Every fix builds more confidence. You see the near misses. A ship almost misses its mark. An engine almost fails. The team fixes it every time they move forward. By stacking wins, the system becomes unbeatable. The big picture shows why this matters. SpaceX controls the only reusable heavy lift system. They move faster and cheaper than anyone else. Each success adds to their advantage. China is building similar rockets but lacks the full setup. NASA is slower due to budgets and rules. Blue Origin is still building its capacity. SpaceX stacks wins through engineering and risk. You know the value of being first. Look at the numbers again. 5 ships with 100 tons each, 7 ships built by 2025, tanks holding 1,200 tons of fuel, engines with massive power, a launch rate 5 times faster than others, refueling precision within seconds. Each number validates the system. This is not a dream. It is a sequence you can measure. Competence and timing have aligned. By the end of 2026, we will see the results. Each milestone leads to the next. The robot missions in 2027 build the foundation. By 2028, humans could follow. The score will be clear. SpaceX leads in speed and power. They mastered the system and outpaced the world. It all starts with radical engineering. SpaceX turned a hard path into a clear one. The window is open. The future is ready. You have felt this before. You have looked at a launch and wondered how it works. Elon Musk said there was a 50-50 chance for 2026. That number shows the gamble. No one said this was easy. The Starship is over 120 meters tall. It is bigger than almost anything built to fly. Fueling it takes months and billions of dollars. The 2026 window is about the planets lining up. Miss it and you wait. That costs money and time. You know what it feels like to see prep go to waste. That is why the pressure is so heavy. The problem problem is simple but hard to fix. The engines have huge power, but controlling that power is like holding a fire hose aimed at a can. In early 2025, ships were spinning out of control. Fuel leaks were a problem. You could see the metal twist and feel the team's stress. That is where they drew the line. Here is how they actually did it. They switched from carbon fiber to stainless steel. Steel is cheaper and handles heat better. This move saved the program. Mastering refueling in space was the key. You cannot just fly to Mars. You have to top off the tanks while floating. Humans have never done this at this scale. You are moving at 28,000 kilometers per hour while pumping fuel. One tiny error ends the mission. By late 2025, the odds for a 2026 flight were tight. Every step is a knife's edge. You have felt this in your own work. One wrong move sets you back months. Engineers tested new landing plans and fuel lines. They used robots to simulate the first crew. These machines have to survive so we get the data. They tried every failure scenario. The ship had to survive in new ways. Every failure was a lesson. In early 2026, the focus shifted slightly. Earth orbit needs to be mastered first. The company learned faster by doing this. SpaceX missed that first 2026 window. You felt that frustration. The next chance is late 2028. 2 years is a long time, but windows matter because of the planets. Launch at the wrong time and you drift away. That is why they chose to wait. They chose patience over panic. Think about that for a second. Flying to Mars is not like the moon. It takes years. The 2026 window meant a landing in 2027. The delay means 2029. That is 18 months later. Everything had to be recalculated. Fuel loads and engine burns changed. Starship needs that orbital refueling. You cannot fill the tank on the ground. Each engine burns thousands of gallons a minute. That is where the mastery shows. They built a way to fill ships in space. No one else has done this. Missing a window is a full reset. Before this, people said Mars was impossible. They thought fuel limits would stop us. NASA's old plans were for 2030. SpaceX went the other way. They made the ships reusable. Every booster flies again. This saves time and money. Here is the big reveal: the speed of their work. Other companies take 6 months for an engine. SpaceX takes 3 weeks. That is engineering tempo. They ran simulations for 2028. Every move was tested in software. They found that faster trips are possible if you burn more fuel. This is the part most people miss. Speed reduces the time the crew is exposed to radiation. More fuel means heavier loads. That stresses the landing gear. They ran hundreds of checks. One error could trap a crew. This is the competitive edge. Few teams can plan this well. The 2028 window is different. Trajectories change. Arrival happens in the Mars summer. Dust storms can be a threat. Engineers added more batteries and stronger panels. Every change is a lesson learned from a prototype. No one talks about the software and logistics. It is all one big machine. Look at the past. NASA tried this in the 90s but never did the refueling. Boeing had delays. They failed to combine speed and cost. SpaceX did not change physics. They used it. They saw limits as levers. By 2028, production was fast. The Texas base stacked boosters in 23 days. That is half the old time. Reusable tanks and better robots made it happen. They tested everything at once. One test failed at high speed. Tiles cracked where the heat was highest. Engineers swapped the materials and added mounts. Every detail mattered. Then the refueling was perfected. Tankers launched first. The ships docked automatically. Computers watched the flow. Here is the thing: space is not just for scientists anymore. It is for builders. SpaceX is proving that humans can live off Earth resources. They are looking at the plains of Arcadia Planitia. This spot is flat. It is safe for landing. Most importantly, it has ice just below the dirt. You can use that ice to make water and air. You can even turn it into fuel for the trip home. Investors and partners are paying attention. Progress and real results turn the impossible into reality. Arcadia Planitia is where the engineering meets the plan. Landing here proves humans can survive. Competitors watch and NASA adjusts. It is a high-stakes game. Every move counts. The breakthrough came when they mastered the landing burn. The ship flips from horizontal to vertical in seconds. It looks crazy, but the math is solid. This solved the biggest risk of the mission. No other rocket can do this flip. It allows Starship to land on rough ground without a pad. What is next? More tests and crewed missions. We will build homes and make fuel on Mars. Each step builds more confidence. Arcadia becomes a blueprint for a new world. You can see the first settlers there. They will use ice for water. They will build the first structures. This is possible because SpaceX combined a big vision with precise math. That is the remarkable part. Natural advantages and technical mastery make the success of the program validates the plan. It opens the door for people to stay. Every test confirms it. Humans can reach and thrive on Mars. This is not science fiction. It is carefully built reality. The gap between SpaceX and the rest of the world is growing. While others talk about plans, SpaceX is building hardware. They have over 300 Raptor engines built. They have landed boosters over 250 times. These numbers are the scoreboard. You see where this is going. The first footprints on Mars will likely be next to a Starship. That is the outcome of years of focused work. Think about the scale of this achievement. A 120-meter rocket landing on another planet. It weighs thousands of carries enough gear to start a small city. This is the transformation we were promised decades ago. SpaceX is the only one delivering it. They took the hard path and made it look normal. You have seen the progress from small hops to orbital flights. Each step was a battle. Each win was earned. Each step was a battle. Each win was earned. The 2028 window is the next big test. The team is ready. The hardware is ready. The world is watching. This is the magic of engineering. It takes a dream and turns it into a schedule. You recognize this pattern of success. It is about competence and grit. The transformation is complete. We are no longer just dreaming of Mars. We are preparing to land there. Countdown to 2028 is already every weld and every line of code brings us closer. This is the reality of the new space age. SpaceX has set the pace. Now the world follows. Planitia represents the culmination of strategic vision and engineering mastery. The successful landing of Starship at this site validates the entire SpaceX approach. It proves that a self-sustaining human presence on Mars is no longer a distant dream, but a planned outcome of repeatable milestones. As infrastructure grows and fuel production scales, the path to a permanent multiplanetary civilization becomes clear. Success here confirms SpaceX as the undisputed leader in the race to the stars.